Hey there, Swarmers. Nice to see you all back in the hive. This is our final instalment of the series on single-use beverage containers. Missed any of the others? Don't fret. We'll link to them below and you can catch up. In the meantime, though, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss anything in the future. Have you ever wondered about the origins of that carton of juice you pick up at the store? Today, we're diving into the world of Tetra Pak and similar beverage containers. These cartons are everywhere, from milk to juice to wine. But what are they made of? How are they made? And what do we do with them when we've finished the beverage inside? Let's break all of that down. First things first, what exactly is Tetra Pak? Well, it's a brand name that's become synonymous with multi-layered liquid cartons. The original carton was a tetrahedron shape, used specifically for milk and launched in 1951. A decade later, they discovered how to fill the containers aseptically, meaning they could eliminate the need for refrigerated transport. So now there are two types of Tetra Pak cartons: aseptic for non-refrigerated liquids like long-life milk and soup, and non-aseptic for liquids requiring refrigeration like flavoured milks. The tops of these non-aseptic containers will typically look different without a plastic lid or a closure. Tetra Pak became highly popular and heartily praised, rightly so, for mitigating food waste by keeping things fresher and shelf-stable for longer. Two more positive points to note is that the shape of the aseptic containers, simple bricks, and the weight of the cartons. These two factors mean that they are easy to pack into boxes, more product fitting to each box and more boxes then fitting into shipping containers and trucks. Each carton weighs little more than a plastic bottle and far less than glass. Both factors mean lower carbon emissions per unit on the transport side. These are absolute and genuine wins, which none of the rest of this video is designed to undermine. We simply want to look at the full picture because, like all packaging, there is an environmental footprint. Tetra Pak cartons are made up of several layers, each serving a specific purpose. There's paperboard, which makes up about 70%. This forms the main structure of the carton. It's sturdy and it provides the shape and strength. There's polyethylene, which contributes approximately 25%. This plastic polymer laminate layer is used both inside and out. It makes the outside waterproof, seals the edges, and on the inside it protects the paperboard from the contents. Advances that Tetra Pak have made in more recent years now include the use of recycled and plant-based polymers. And finally, in the aseptic cartons, there's aluminium at a small 5%. This extremely thin layer of aluminium foil acts as a barrier against light and oxygen, keeping the contents fresh for a long time. And when I say thin, I really mean it. It's 8 times thinner than a human hair. Now, for first-timers here, aluminium is how Australians say aluminum for our American friends. The order of the layers from outside to inside are polymer, then paperboard, another layer of polymer, aluminium, and finally a third layer of polymer. Then there's the lids, which many of the containers have, which are typically made from high-density polyethylene or HDPE. Tetra Paks have made advances here also and now use recycled and/or plant-based plastic. In some countries, the lid also remains tethered to the container to reduce the risk of it being lost and creating litter. All these layers make the manufacturing process quite interesting and energy intensive. Here's a simplified rundown. Large rolls of paperboard are printed with the product's branding and information. The paperboard is then scored with crease lines to enable folds in the paperboard. Depending on if the carton is aseptic or not, it's then laminated with the polymers plus or minus the aluminium layer. The printed and laminated rolls are slit to the right width, ready to be shaped. The empty cartons are shipped to the beverage companies where they'll be filled with liquids, sealed, and then distributed to stores. Now, in terms of that distribution, it's the same as with any other vessel that we've discussed. There's ocean, rail, road, and air freight possibilities. I've listed those in order of least to most environmentally damaging. As a super quick recap, here's some stats. Cargo ships produce about 10 to 40 grams of CO2 per tonne kilometre. Electric rail will produce between 6 and 22 grams of CO2 per tonne kilometre, depending on the source of the electricity, renewable versus fossil fuels, while diesel rail produces between 14 to 30 grams of CO2 per tonne kilometre. Trucks emit about 60 to 150 grams of CO2 per tonne kilometre. Air freight? Brace yourself, between 500 and 600 grams of CO2 per tonne kilometre. Okay, so you've grabbed your favourite juice from the shelf, slurped its contents, and then what? Here's where things get a bit tricky, which is largely due to the number of layers that they're made of. Tetra Pak cartons are recyclable, but the process isn't as straightforward as recycling paper or plastic alone. Recycling Tetra Pak cartons involves separating the paper, plastic and aluminium layers, as well as the lid. This is done through a process called hydropulping, where the cartons are mixed with water and agitated to separate the fibres. The complexity of this process will, of course, have a knock-on effect on the recycling rates. In 2022, there were about 193 billion Tetra Pak cartons produced. Less than 1/4 were recycled. These rates do vary depending on the region of the world. In Europe, around 51% of Tetra Pak cartons are actually recycled, while in the UK, that drops to about 36%. The US and Australia have even lower rates, though, at 27 and 26% respectively. Many recycling facilities are simply not equipped to handle this process, leading to a significant number of cartons ending up in landfills or incinerated. So as with all recycling, please check with your local municipality to see what they can manage in your curbside bin. Tetra Pak is aware of these challenges and has been working on making their cartons more sustainable. Here are some of the initiatives they've taken up. They've partnered with recycling companies and municipalities to improve the recycling infrastructure for their cartons. This includes setting up more recycling plants capable of processing multi-layered cartons specifically. They've started using plant-based plastics for some of their packaging layers, which reduces reliance on fossil fuels and lowers the carbon footprint. But bear in mind, there are related complexities associated with bioplastics. You'll find our recent exploration of that linked below. The paperboard used in Tetra Pak cartons is increasingly sourced from responsibly managed forests, certified by the Forest Stewardship Council, FSC. There is, of course, some question marks over the credibility of this certification. Currently, it's better than nothing, but the process of obtaining FSC certification certainly needs to be looked at. Although all these steps are steps in the right direction, it's not exactly good enough. And I'm not being a negative Nancy, it's just that we all need to always keep striving for more, better solutions. So with that in mind, let's look at some ways to ensure continuous improvements and innovations aimed at reducing environmental impact. Advances in recycling technologies, which could make it even easier and more cost-effective to recycle multi-layered cartons. More plant-based and biodegradable materials, which could replace traditional plastics and aluminium, making the cartons more eco-friendly. Increased awareness and participation in recycling programs, which can significantly improve the recycling rates of Tetra Pak cartons. Tetra Pak and similar beverage packaging offer a convenient, efficient and safe way to store and transport liquids, keeping the contents fresher for longer. However, they come with environmental challenges that do need to be addressed. By understanding the materials, manufacturing processes and disposal options, we can make more informed choices and support initiatives that promote sustainability. So next time you reach for that carton of juice or milk, remember the journey it has taken to get to you. It has an environmental impact. Let's do our part by firstly recycling correctly, which starts with checking with your local council or refuse collection agency. But most importantly, let's reassess how necessary any single-use item is in our lives. Even with materials and end-of-life advances, single-use products shouldn't be our default option. Thank you so much for joining us, Swrmers. We hope that you've learned something new today. If you like what we do, make sure you subscribe and like our channel, share it with your friends. Stay happy, stay healthy, and stay sustainable.